The man found something strange in the wild. There was a piece of gold on the ground shining brightly. After wiping the dust off the rock, he realized it must be a huge gold bar. He turned around to look at his friend. After some struggle, he decided to tell him, facing the gold buried deep underground. The friend couldn't be sure if it was real. He pulled out a high-temperature lighter to test it. As long as it didn't turn black, then it had to be real. And sure enough, the gold didn't change at all. That meant they just struck it rich. The two didn't hesitate for long. They started digging right away, trying to dig out the whole piece of gold. But after a few hours, they still hadn't reached the bottom. That also meant the gold was bigger than they thought. After some effort, they tried to forcefully pry it out, but no matter how hard they tried, it was useless. Next, they tried to pull it with the car, but no matter how much gas they gave, all they did was snap the rope. Looking at the glowing gold in front of them, the two were really frustrated. Could it be that heaven didn't want them to get rich? But unwilling to give up, they kept digging. However, in the endless wasteland, danger lurked everywhere, and as the sky started to darken, to deal with the hidden beasts, they gathered some dry wood. If they didn't light a fire in time, they might become dinner for the beasts. Even in danger, they were still happy thinking about the future. After imagining their dream life, they faced another tricky problem: how to dig the giant gold out completely. The friend suggested there was a small town nearby. They could get an excavator there, but the round trip would take 5 days, and during that time, someone had to stay and guard the gold, while facing the extreme weather and wild animal attacks everywhere. The friend thought he had watched enough survival shows, so he was perfect to stay and guard the gold. But Jeff didn't agree. If his friend stayed and took the gold for himself, then he'd be celebrating for nothing. After thinking it over, he insisted on staying. Seeing how determined Jeff was, the friend finally agreed. The next day, they divided the food according to plan, but the friend took most of the water, saying the car needed to cool down. Jeff had no choice but to agree. Before leaving, he gave Jeff a phone. In case of emergencies, they could contact each other.
By the time I get back, we'll be rich as all hell.
With laughter, the friend drove away, and Jeff began to prepare. He first buried the gold with sand, so no one would find it. Then he used the remaining fabric to build a simple tent, facing the hot and dry wasteland. He was about to test his limits. The first step was to collect lots of branches, because danger was everywhere. At night, as soon as Jeff lit the fire, he heard beasts howling in the distance, so he kept his knife tightly in hand. Just like that, he survived the first night. When he woke and saw the gold in the distance, Jeff felt everything was worth it. But the first call from his friend didn't go through because of bad signal. Jeff was at a loss. He didn't know what was happening, but one thing was clear: collecting firewood was the top priority. During one trip to gather wood, he accidentally found a crashed plane. Jeff was thrilled. Even though the fuselage was damaged, it might still help him survive. But after taking a closer look, he still felt uneasy. It was too far from the gold, so he dismantled part of the plane and took pieces back to build a better shelter, because guarding the gold was the most important thing. Now the simple tent was upgraded. Looking at the gold not far away, Jeff finally felt more at ease, but greed kept him awake. The gold seemed to have some kind of magic. He picked up a rock and smashed off a piece. Just as he was deciding whether to run, his friend called again.
Hey.
Got some bad news, I'm afraid. I'm at the way station, but the engine's overheated.
Jeff said he broke off a chunk of gold and told him to fix the car fast and come back. Forget about the excavator. But the friend was blinded by greed. He insisted Jeff keep guarding the gold mountain. Jeff had no choice but to agree. Later that night, the beast's howls came closer and closer. He fought desperately with a torch, but the beast still circled nearby. Fortunately, Jeff survived the night. By now he was exhausted, his face badly sunburned, and his water almost gone. Now he had to sip carefully. Suddenly a zebra snake crawled near. Jeff picked up his knife, hoping for a meal. The zebra snake slithered away, but even worse, Jeff accidentally knocked over his water. That meant his chances of survival dropped again. The next day, he went back to the plane, trying to get more metal for his tent. But then something terrifying happened. A woman suddenly appeared. At first he tried to hide, but the woman was bold. She kept talking to him non-stop. When she asked why he was there, Jeff got nervous. The woman noticed something strange. Seeing Jeff trying to hide things, she walked straight to the tent, planning to check for herself. Jeff panicked. He offered her the plane wreck to distract her, hearing that the woman paused. But when Jeff walked toward the tent, she followed closely behind, questioning him, trying to figure out why he was there. Finally, Jeff broke down, but he was already dehydrated. Before he could curse her out, he collapsed. The woman then walked straight to the tent. Once inside, she looked around carefully. The gold was about to be exposed. Jeff couldn't take it anymore.
Any boy, now what?
The woman was killed. Jeff panicked. To hide the body, he dug a hole for her, then gathered her supplies, and buried her beside the tent. When he tried to rest, he saw hyenas coming, so he dragged the woman farther away, then gathered firewood, and burned her body completely. Afterward he buried the ashes. Then he fell into deep thought, wondering what kind of man he had become. The next day, he was woken by the sound of his phone. His friend said the excavator was ready, but it would take a few more days to get there. Jeff started to break down. Then he heard a car in the distance. He quickly hung up. It was his last chance for help, but looking at the shining gold, he gave up calling for help. Soon night fell again. A sandstorm swept through the wasteland. Dust and wind surrounded Jeff. He stumbled back in fear, trying to reach the metal shelter, but it wasn't strong enough. It couldn't withstand the storm. When the sandstorm ended, Jeff woke from unconsciousness. His waist was injured, but the first thing he did was frantically look for the gold. After confirming it was still there, he finally relaxed. When he woke again, he pulled out the wood and used the lighter to heat the metal to stop the bleeding, but exhaustion took over, and he fainted again. When he woke this time, the dead woman was facing him. Jeff's mind was slipping away. Even a scorpion crawled into his wound. He could do nothing. Then his friend called again, telling him to guard the gold mountain. He'd arrive in half an hour. Jeff looked around, and after confirming the woman wasn't alive, he started covering the gold with sand again, but the woman appeared once more.
Listen, there's a water hole. I can walk you there.
Go.
You'll die if you don't.
Go!
So you didn't see me, sister?
It turned out the woman was that man's sister. Luckily Jeff had hidden everything well. Without news of her sister, she finally left. Jeff felt relieved, but when he woke again, there was more firewood around him. It was clear the woman hadn't gone far. She even lit a fire for him. Realizing something was wrong, Jeff called his friend, but he still said he needed more time, and reminded Jeff to guard the gold. By then the beasts had gathered, all staring at Jeff, waiting for him to die, so they could eat. Not far away, the friend's empty cans were scattered everywhere. It was obvious he had already arrived. He'd just been waiting quietly, waiting for Jeff to be eaten. Finally, Jeff stopped breathing to the sound of beasts. After watching for a long time, the friend finally stood up to enter the mountain. He had the excavator ready, planning to take the gold for himself, but just as he put on his gloves to start, in the end, the giant gold mountain couldn't be enjoyed by either of them, and was the one who shot the arrow really that sister?